Hey, I got another one here. And this one today we're talking about when you're growing and they're not. So there's a kind of loneliness that doesn't look like a crisis. You're still together, you're still functioning, everybody's still paying bills, and whoever cooks is still cooking, and whoever cleans and the cleaning, everything is still, you're still going out sometimes, but something feels off. You know that you're growing. You're reading again, or you're taking classes, or you're trying new hobbies, or you're exploring a new entrepreneurial adventure. You feel your mind stretching, and you know there's things that you may even start counseling again because you know you got to be able to hold the capacity of the direction that you're going in. Um, your identity is starting to shift. And when you look over, their evenings, they haven't changed. The game, the scrolling, the couch. Nothing is wrong, but nothing is moving. And that's when the question hits. You wonder if you're still aligned, or you wonder if you're outgrowing this. So this is the very subtle part because there isn't any betrayal, not really. There's nothing explosive that's happened. They go to work, they show up mostly. They may even love you well in the ways that they know how, but the energy, direction is different. You're expanding, they're maintaining. At first, you call it balance, like they're opposites, and so you're balancing each other out, yin and yang. But over time, it starts to feel less like balance and more like you're the only one generating forward motion. You come home excited about something that you've experienced or that you've learned, and sometimes they're into it, but mostly they're scrolling and watching sports or something like that. And they can acknowledge it, but they're more quick to get back to, say, the game or something. You suggest trying something new together. They maybe say later, maybe they'll say, it's not really their vibe, but later really doesn't come. So you start to feel lonely. So here's what I would pose as a mature question. Should I just manage this? You know, um, is this simply adulthood? You know, the natural solitude of becoming, or is this loneliness information? Because not all loneliness inside a relationship means the relationship is wrong. Sometimes loneliness is the cost of growth. When you stretch beyond who you used to be, even familiar people can feel unfamiliar. That kind of loneliness is developmental. It's the space between identities. The discomfort of shedding an old version of yourself, no partner can eliminate that entirely. But then there's another kind, the loneliness of being unseen, of your expansion being met with indifference, not criticized, not attacked, just flat. And you can feel a little bit of jealousy or resentment, although they could love themselves enough to do something now different, more. And here's the line that you cannot skip. If your growth feels inconvenient to the person that you're with, that's not a hobby difference. That's a values difference. That's where this stops being about the TV or what's on TV. It stops being about the sports. It becomes about orientation to life. Are we both moving, or is one of us building while the other is consuming? And before you react, you have to get honest. If nothing changed, if the couch remained the center of gravity, if 5 years from now you were deeper, steadier, more self-aware, and they were exactly the same, would you feel peaceful? Or would you feel resentful? Because resentment starts very quiet. It's not loud. It starts as loneliness that you keep managing. So yes, sometimes you manage the loneliness. You name it. This is the stretch. This is who I'm becoming. You build community elsewhere, friends, circles, spaces where your expansion is mirrored. Not every need must be met by one person. But here's the part that requires brutal honesty. If you have to shrink your growth to keep the peace, you're not managing loneliness. You're managing yourself. And that is where women in midlife start to disappear. You stop talking about what you're learning, you downplay what excites you, you grow in private, and that's not balance. That's really self-abandonment. So the real question isn't, should I leave? It's, can I respect this rhythm without shrinking inside of it? Because love without respect erodes slowly, and midlife sharpens your awareness of time. You don't want to spend another decade waiting for someone to get curious about their own life, but you also don't want to misinterpret your evolution as their failure. Sometimes the person you built a life with was built for who you were then, not who you're becoming now. That doesn't make either of you wrong, but it does require clarity, and clarity in midlife matters more than comfort. So, if you're in this space, don't rush to solve it, but don't silence it either. Name the loneliness accurately. Is it growth or is it misalignment? Because once you name it correctly, you stop managing symptoms and start making decisions. You stop pretending nothing is wrong when nothing is moving. You are not too much for wanting expansion. You are not disloyal for noticing the gap. You are awake. And when you are awake, stillness starts to feel like stagnation. Alignment starts to matter more than comfort. Movement starts to matter more than maintenance. So don't rush, but don't go back to sleep. Stay with that. Hold on to that. Keep that. You know, in this space, we name things. We try to do it gently. We try to be clear about it. Thank you for hanging out with me a little bit today. I'm glad you came by. Take care of yourselves. I mean that. Take care of yourselves. And I'll see you in the next one.